Hey guys, good morning. Coming to you with my Finnegans Wake project. Today we are reading one paragraph because it's like 3.5 pages long and there's a lot of difficult words here. So here we go. Chessi, sedence, see. Corpo di Baraggio, you spoof of visibility in a freak fog, of mixed sex cases among goats, hill cat and plain mousy, bigamy Bob and his old shanvocht. The Blackfriars treacle plaster outrage belittled, 2 words. Therewith was released in that Kingsrick of Humidia a poisoning volume of cloud barrage indeed. Yet all they who heard or redelivered are now with that family of bards and Vergobretas himself, and the crowd of caraculacticors, as much no more as be they not yet now, or had they then not ever been. Can be, 1 word, in some future we shall presently hear amid those zouave players of Inkerman, the mime mumming the Mick and his Nick miming their Maggies. Hilton St. Just, Mr. Frank Smith, Yvonne St. Austell, Mr. J.F. Jones, Coleman of Lucan taking 4 parts, a choir of the O'Daly O'Doyles, double-sixing the chorus in Fen Macall and the 7 Furies of Loch Neach, Galloper, Troppler, and Hurleyquin, the zitherer of the past, with his merrymen all zim-zim, zim-zim. Of the person's sin, this Arawigla saga, which, though readable to int from and is from tub to bottom all false tissues, and tilibellus and non-actionable, and this applies to its whole volume. It's like volume, but with who at the beginning instead of VO. Of poor Osty Frosty, described as quite a musical genius in a small way, and the owner of an exceedingly niced ear. That's niced ear. With tenorist voice to match, not alone, but a very major poet of the poorly meritary order. He began Tuonisonian, but worked his passage up as far as the we all hang together Animandovites. No one end is known. If they whistled him before he had curtains up, they are whistling him still after his curtains doom. A fou. His husband, poor old Ahara Okaroff, crestfallen by things and down at heels at the time, they squeak, accepted the Zasnach Ardries shilling at the conclusion of the Crimean War, and having flown his wild geese, aloned in crowds to wander on like Shuley Looney, enlisted in Tyrone's horse, the Irish Whites, and soldiered a bit with Wolsey under the assumed name of Blanco Fusilovna Buklovich, spurious, after which the Cawer and the marble halls of Pump Court Columbarium, the home of the old Seekings, looked upon each other and queth their haven evermore, for it transpires that on the other side of the water it came about, that on the field of Vasilev's Cornix, inauspiciously with his unit he perished, saying, this papal leafless to old chap give, raw chocolates for mother in Louth. Buil. Poor old dear Paul Horan, to satisfy his literary as well as his criminal aspirations, at the suggestion thrown out by the doomster in loquacity lunacy, so says the Dublin Intelligence, was thrown into a Ridley's for inmates in the northern counties. Under the name of Orani, he may have been the utility man of the troop, capable of sustaining long parts at short notice. He was. Sordid Sam, a dour, decent de Blunker, the unwashed haunted always by his ham, The unwished, at a word from Israfel the summoner, passed away painlessly after life's ups and downs one Halloween night. Ebrus and in the state of nature, propelled from behind into the great beyond by footblows, Coolin clouded upon his oyster, and Atlas on behanged and behooved and behicked and beholped of his last fish and blood bed-scrappers, a Norwegian and his mate of the she-wolving class. Though the last straw glimpsed his bearing this stage, Thunkard is said. The pit-fallen gagged him as prompt boxer, to have solemnly said, as had the brief thought, but fell in till his head, like a bass dropped neck-fust, in till a bung crate, cogged. Me drames, O Lochlins, has come through. Now let the centuple selves of my egorge, as Nicholas de Cusack calls them, of all of whose I in my hereinafter, of course by recourse, demission me, by the coincidence of their contraries remalgamerge in that identity of undiscernibles, where the Baxters and the Fleshmans, may they cease to bedivil uns, but at this point has a G in it, though the iron thrust of his cockspurt might have prepared us, we are well nigh stink-pot-heard by the mustard punge in the tail end. This outstanding brown candlestock melt Nolans into peace, P-E-E-S-E. Hanvar. Disliken as he was to Druriro drama, her wife Langley, the prophet, and the decentest dozenest short of a frusker who ever stuck his spickle through his spoke, disappeared, in which to-doing he has taken all the French leaves unveilable out of Columnequiller's pravities. From the sour face of this earth, that austral plain he had transmarried himself to, so entirely sporelessly, the mother of the book, with a dust whisk, tabularizing his obliteration, done upon her involucrum, as to tickle the speculative to all but opine, since the levy, who might have been Langley, may have really been a redivivus of paganism, or a volunteer Vousden, that the hobo, who possessed a large amount of the humoresque, had transtilled his funster's latita to its finsterest intermost. Be she, B-H-I-B, she. Again, if Father Stan Brown, tea and toaster to that quaintestest of yarn spinners, is Padre Don Bruno, true and troster to the Queen of Spain, was the Reverend, the sodality director, that eupeptic vice-flayer, a barefaced Carmelite, to whose palpitating just normal this time, pulpit, which of us but remembers the reverent and honorable Fradomister Nollenmore and Braun, sinning society sirens, see the Roman Catholic Prespassim, fortunately became so enthusiastically attached and was an objectionable arse, who very occasionally cockaded a Raffles ticket on his hat, which he wore all to one side like the hangle of his pan. If her elegance saw him, she'd have the canary. And was semi-privately convicted of malpractices with his hot-washed table knife glossing over the cark in his pocket. That same snob of the Dunhill, fully several yearshams riper, encountered by the General on that red-letter morning, or Maynoon Jove's Day, and were they? Fweet. a great day.